and Maths. I am Sakshi Grover, DSC Lead Usha Mittal Institute of Technology, SNDT Women's University, Mumbai, and I'm very excited to be co-hosting the event along with Lasya today.
Hello everyone, I am Dasya, lead DSC Andhra University College of Engineering, and on behalf of the entire DSC team, I would like to extend my sincere gratitude towards our panelists for joining us today.
SNDT Women's University, Mumbai.
Despite being in different time zones, we will now quickly introduce our panelists for today's discussion.
Our first panelist is Nidhi Mehta. Currently, Nidhi ma'am is working full time at the Expedia Group in Seattle as a senior program manager and managing a team of project managers. With more than 18 years of experience in the IT field, she has worked in various domains and roles in the IT sector. With an amazing work experience, she has made sure not to leave the community behind. From being the founder of multiple non profit organizations like Anurakti, whose motto is to touch lives with love, and Dance in Pink, a fitness movement to raise awareness about breast cancer health amongst the South Asian community. She is also a team lead for the top fundraising team for Susan G. Komen Breast Cancer Foundation. With her motto of Be the change you want to see in the world, I'm sure she is a source of inspiration to the millions of women out there.
Moving on to our next panelist, Bani ma'am. Bani ma'am is a software engineer at Salesforce. She has been leading the Delhi chapter of Women in Machine Learning and Data Science since 2019. She is the youngest recipient of Google Venkat P. Memorial Scholarship given to 6 exceptional Indian CSE students as upcoming computer scientists and technology leaders who wish to give back to the society. She loves to contribute to open source and was a Google Summer of Code student developer at Sisters, Anita Bjork Institute. She is also one of the 100 global recipients of the Women Tech Makers Udacity Scholarship. She has several publications at top tier international conferences, including Core A Conference. She has also co-founded Coding Sisters, which works towards getting young girls into STEM early, thus bridging the gap in tech from the grassroots. She's highly involved in mentoring young women in STEM via Facebook developer circles, Lean in Triple IT Delhi, and Women Who Code Delhi, with whom she has been mentoring young girls since the past 3 years. We're glad to have you here, Vani ma'am.
The pleasure is all mine. Thank you.
In communities. We are glad to have you.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me.
Taking inspiration from someone's success is good, but taking inspiration from the journey of their success is more remarkable. Let's hear from our panelists about their journey towards success and how did you hashtag choose to challenge.
So, moving on to getting to know about the panelists, we would like to know more about your journey and how you came so far in the field of tech. So, we'll start with Nidhi ma'am.
Thank you, first of all, Sakshi and Lasya, for introducing us. Just seeing you all together today, smiling, is just making my day. It's 6 a.m. in the morning here, and I am so excited to be a part of this panel, first of all, and talking to you guys. So, what can be a better start for my day? Um, and the great words you guys said about us, I think everybody, each of us, have a very, very unique journey, right? We all have come out to be we look like inspiring, but throughout our journey, we have learned through our experiences, and we have gotten inspired by others around us, other women around us, and again, we made our own unique journey. So if we can share some pearls from that, I would say pearls of wisdom, I'm happy to do that. And again, looking forward to hearing everyone's story so that I get inspired.
Thank you, ma'am. Indeed, we all have different journeys. So, all right, we would move on to Preeti ji. Would you mind sharing your journey so far with all of the other women to get inspired?
Did you tell me? Because I couldn't hear my name.
Yes, yes.
Okay. So my journey is pretty short. I'm still in my 4th year, and I will be joining Google in 4 to 5 months. So if you ask my journey, it's pretty much just trying out hats at every different places and then trying to do the right thing. So if you consider my 4 years, it will just be like the first 2 semesters were just about learning something. So I was trying on different technologies like web dev or app dev or machine learning, and then trying to find out what suits me. When I was in the 3rd semester, that's when I figured out that there were no technical clubs in our college at that time. I mean, there was just one IEEE chapter, and that's it. So that was an opportunity that I would say that I needed to grab. And that's when I thought, along with one of my friends, to come up with OnCreate. Because at that time, I kind of worked with app development, so that's an app development club. Moving on, when we actually lead a club, I believe it gave me experiences that I can take on for my life. It's not just leading a club alone that makes the experience. It's about the people you meet, the things you manage together, and also I would say that the things you learn from people whom you maybe never wanted to meet, because those give you experiences in how to deal with people actually, and the soft skills that you would need. Now, when I met the amazing people, I wanted to build projects with them, and we started developing together, and that's when we had the hackathons. And again, in hackathons, you actually meet the industry experts and what do they expect from us as small individuals and college individuals as such. That's when Solve for Bharat, where we were top 10, and I guess Engineers, which we won as an hackathon. So those 2 things came up. When I learned a bit of technologies, I wanted to write some real code. And to do that, the best platform I could think of was open source at that time. So it seems pretty dreadful, and you think like, how do you actually get into the field of open source? And so was I. I never believed that I could actually do it when I first started. So I started preparing for GSOC, and I went ahead and moved with the organization known as Checker Framework. It's basically a Java static analyzer. And I had amazing 3 months there. And when I did that, I was more interested in open source, and that's when I jumped to a bit of Linux kernel development as well. That was like the last year when there was complete lockdown and we were just in our houses for so long. My offer from Google was actually off campus, and I never really thought that I could get an offer there or even an interview for that matter. So that happened, I guess, because of what I had at GSOC and because of, I guess, the Kickstart, which is a Google's competitive coding competitions. So in first Kickstart, I could only give for 40 minutes because I had a flight to catch. The next one, I could give just 1.5 hours because I woke up late. That was kind of irresponsible, but yeah. So I woke up late, I could just give 1.5 hours, but I still managed to get a decent rank, and within a month, I got a call from Google. And then it was like last month that I received an offer. So it has been 4 long months of recruitment, and I believe that journey was amazing because I had to push myself to heights I never believed I could. So that's exactly what I want to tell the fellow individuals who are like watching this, that you have to try and put in your effort and believe in yourself, basically, and you're going to achieve everything that you want to. Just never lose hope.
Yes, that was very, very motivating for other girls to try out different stuff, definitely. So we'll move on to Khushbu.
Sure. So first of all, thank you so much for having me here. I'm so inspired by the fellow people on the panel. I think the most of the like I'm the only intern right now here. So to talk about my journey into tech, first of all, I come from an all-women university, so I know how much potential women have, and sometimes they don't realize it. So at my university, especially how I got interested in tech is through community events. So I used to attend a lot of community events happening here in Delhi, and I remember meeting Bani Di, and she has been such an inspiration. So through these community events, I got to know so many people who were so supportive that I wanted to do something. And then when I received that support, I wanted to ensure that the women on campus that I have, they also receive such support. So then I decided to start communities at campus wherein we all could come together and learn together. So I remember last year I was also DSC's core member of our university, IGDW. So yeah, it has been a journey of ups and downs, and I never thought that I could intern at Microsoft or Adobe for that matter. And yeah, it's just that we sometimes put limitations on ourselves, and we can achieve whatever we want to. And yeah, we'll talk more about our journeys in the discussion throughout. So first, again, thank you so much for having me.
That's great. Yes, we are indeed very happy to have you on our panel. So, Bani Di, it's your turn to share your journey.
Okay, sure. So I would firstly mention this thing that it's been 7 months since I've joined full-time as a software engineer at Salesforce, and that's my first job till now. And firstly, thank you so much for all of your kind words, Lasya, Pushbu, and everyone here. Yeah, I'm very thankful for them. Okay, so with regards to my journey, like I'll describe maybe my 4 years and 7 months. It's not a very long journey, but sure. So my motto throughout has been that if there is an opportunity out there which comes to my attention, I need to give it my 100%. If I don't, I would not be satisfied by the end of it. So I'm like, whatever opportunity I get, and I feel like maybe I should apply, or just a thought comes into my mind that this is something which I should give it a try, I need to give my 100%, because the regret of not making the most of an opportunity is kind of something which I do not want to encounter. So that's kind of been my driving force, and I was very fortunate to come across a lot of opportunities during my first year itself. So yeah, I was very actively engaged in a lot of communities throughout my first year, and I was also trying my hands at hackathons and doing some other extracurricular projects, as well as like within academics, I was trying to make some extra projects, like take a part in a particular hackathon which was organized on air pollution and everything. So yeah, just trying to play around with technologies, trying to play around with things, and yeah, by the end of my freshman year, I was fortunate to receive Google Venkat Panchapplication Scholarship, and that kind of changed the entire thing. And yeah, it just introduced me to so many amazing people out there in the world, and the kind of exposure that gave me, the kind of network of peers, of fellow scholars it gave me, that kind of changed the entire thing which I had back then. So it introduced me to a lot of so during the scholarship retreat program, we were invited to Google headquarters as well as YouTube headquarters, and we got to meet a lot of VPs there, as well as the YouTube CEO in person. So talking to such inspiring people, getting to know about their journey, and them kind of making you believe that you also have the potential in you. So that was kind of like pretty cool. Like I remember we were sitting across with Susan, who's the CEO of YouTube, and she was telling us that there was a time she was on the other side of the table like us. So she was like, you folks can do it too. And it just, the kind of motivation I got from that particular trip, I just can't put that in words. So I would surely mention this thing. And honestly, when I applied to that particular scholarship, I was not expecting that I would get through. I was just in my freshman year, and that particular scholarship was open for bachelor students, MS students, PhD students. And I was like, I don't have a chance, but let's give it a shot. And like, I was not at all expecting a call. And even when I got a call, I was like, okay, maybe I need to check Truecaller to ensure this is the right call and nobody is playing a prank on me. So yeah, that was honestly a pretty amazing journey, and the kind of peers you come across. Like I was the youngest scholar there, so most of the people there had already achieved a lot of amazing things in their profile. They were targeting for the very top colleges there. Some of them were like working in self-driving cars. Some of them were like, I guess one of my scholars, she won a hackathon at Stanford. So I was like, these are some amazing people to have in your network to learn from, and whose values you can imbibe, who you can take as inspiration, get inspired by them, and strive for the very best. So at the end of my second year, I did Google Summer of Code, and by my first year, I was already taking part in open source challenges, as well as I was very active in the community. And by the end of my second year, I decided to do Google Summer of Code with Sisters, AnitaB.org Institute. That's again an organization which is working to build a safer space for women in tech. And after that, during my third year, so I already started to actively engage in Delhi chapter of Women in Machine Learning and Data Science, as well as Women Who Code Delhi. And I guess in Women in Machine Learning and Data Science, that's how I met Khushbu. We have attended sessions together, as well as we have organized sessions together. So yeah, that was kind of our introduction. And yeah, I would say communities have been a very, very important part of my journey, because they helped me meet mentors. They helped me again meet people who would inspire me, people I could look up to, people I could reach out to for support. And your network is one of your biggest strengths. And that is kind of exposure to opportunities, guidance, and yes, just some people to lean on. So that is kind of like an amazing thing to have. And apart from that, yeah, I being from IIIT Delhi, I was also involved in research, and I was fortunate to have really great advisors who motivated me, who encouraged me to do research, which kind of appeals to me. And there were sometimes the topics which I proposed were not something which were going on in the lab, but they were still very supportive and tried to not limit me to what is already existing in the lab, but also encouraged me to do independent research, also encouraged me to go all out for it. And yeah, just being good advisors. And there is no limit you can have in research. Just try to explore whatever you want to. And yeah, after research, I'm fortunate to be working at Salesforce. It's one of the best workplaces, I would say. And just the kind of people you have, how much confidence and how much investment they do into you, that is something which really inspires me. And yeah, I guess I'll sum up my journey by saying this, that the major thing which has kind of helped me try out for opportunities was that, one, do not limit your own self by saying that this is not something which I can achieve. Just try it. What's the worst thing which can happen? You would not get it. But in case you do not even apply, you're like putting that barrier yourself. And the second thing is that if I do not give an opportunity my 100%, it's like a regret I'll have for a lifetime. So I'm like, okay, let me just try. Sure. Thank you.
Bani, it was so good to hear that. I was like listening to all of you, and I'm realizing, for you guys, it's so easy because you are so young compared to me. You guys could summarize and that's why I didn't start my story, because I have like 19 years or 20 plus years to tell you guys. So I wanted to hear your stories first. But the point that I liked about Bani, and I actually use that a lot when I'm talking to my teams and when I'm mentoring people, is that, take risks. If you win, you will succeed. If you don't, you will be wise, right? So there's nothing that you will lose. You will gain in every risk that you will take, every opportunity that you will come across. So I just resonated so well with me, Bani, what you said in the end, that I wanted to jump in, couldn't resist myself. But again, as I said, my journey is a lot more different than all of yours. Things have come a long way from when I started. I was the first engineer on my side of the families, both maternal as well as paternal. I was a single girl in a batch of 33 boys, 4 girls in total when I did engineering. there never used to be a quota for girls. They added something later, and it was hard. I think it was very different what things look like now, and I'm so proud to see where we all have come, how India has progressed, how the conservativeness that used to be there around women or girls getting into higher education or competing at par with boys or even better than boys is so well accepted. During my time, I think I had the bestest parents who never discriminated between me and my brother. We got the best of the education, whatever they could afford. Kind of never compared, she's a girl, he's a boy, so he should get more. Even though I don't come from a background, like I come from a small town in Allahabad, where things were not that, again, broad-minded. But it's so good to see when I see all you women out there trying to prove yourself and you're trying to achieve new heights and so much better than boys. So it just fills my heart with joy because I've been living in US for last 19 plus years now, and when I come back and I see the changes and I see Sakshi now doing and studying so hard and leading things like that, it just fills my heart with pride that that we are doing something right, especially the generations before you who have carved that path. So yeah, that's why I didn't summarize my story, because my story is very long.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for your insights. And I also always used to think when, a lot of people used to come up to me and ask, why do you really need women a quota or something like that? Or, why do you really need special initiatives for girls? And you just proved my point why we very badly need it. And yeah, it is really nice. And I agree with Bani that communities play a major role, especially for girls, because you find a lot of support and you find a better peer group basically who will motivate you to do more. So yeah, great. Thank you so much for all of your insights. We'll move on to the next question. Sakshi, would you mind taking over?
Yeah, sure, Lasya. So moving on to the next question. How has being a girl influenced you in any way? Like, were you shouldered with more responsibilities, or did you face any sort of discrimination, so either in the good way or the bad way?
If you don't mind, I'll take that. And I will say, first of all, I am proud to be a woman, right? Because I feel women definitely are much better natural collaborators than men. I have 2 boys myself, and I can see that. So women are definitely very natural when it comes to, making connections, doing multitasking. They're just because they have been suppressed for so long in our past generations that they have this huge passion to do something, right? To prove themselves. So I feel they are naturally very charged to take opportunities. And again, I think someone said, I think it was Bani or Preeti, that never leave an opportunity. And that's how I am. Anything you tell me, oh, you need to learn Kathak, I'll go ahead and prove myself and I'll learn Kathak and I'll show you. It shouldn't be just anything regarding, your profession. I think a woman is multifaceted, and they should try and not leave any opportunity that comes their way, because how many of us, if we can mute ourselves, that would be great. There's a background somewhere. Thank you so much. So yeah, so I think it's all about not letting those opportunities go, and discrimination is bound to happen, right? Our country, and again, not just India, I think globally, it has always been a male-dominated society. There has been societal pressures. There has been the patriarchal culture, right? Where men have always held higher positions. So there had been oppression, there had been discrimination. I said, right, I did my 4 years of bachelor's with just being one girl in a group of 33 boys, and you could have imagined what my life would have been, but I have been very strong-headed. I have been very strong-willed from the very beginning. So I didn't let that break me. It's not that it doesn't affect you. It does. But you don't have to show that to the world. You don't have to show it to others. You absorb it, you process it, you reflect on it, and you work on it, right? But the strong woman that you see now, like all of you who are smiling here with successes, I'm sure it's not that you are positive and strong every single day. There are low days too, right? But in the end, it counts that you are still here smiling and feeling proud on that journey. I think that gives the strength. That is our strength. That is a woman's strength. That only she can do that, and not men. So I always feel we are blessed. We are fortunate. God chose us to be women, and we are here to make the world a better place.
Yeah. Lasya, can you take the next question?
Sure. So yeah, right where I was coming to, ma'am, when you mentioned that you have been the only person in the whole class of 33 boys. How was it? What is the difference that we are missing? I mean, how has it evolved? Because there's a long way to go, because women are still not treated equally and are being discriminated, or there are a lot of there's a lot of gap between men and women with respect to a lot of opportunities. So how far have we come?
I think we have come really far, Lasya, because as I said, at that time when I was applying for, and attempting those exams for competitive, selections, whether it was IITs or Roorkees, and there was no such quota. There's quota for, I know in India there's still ST quotas and stuff like that, but there was no quota for girls, and it was definitely hard. There was a lot of discrimination, not even from the students, because the boys I was attending the classes were also they also came from a background which was conservative, right? They had never seen a woman standing at par with them, having great, excelling in exams. I was an honors student when I passed, third rank in the whole college, right? So it was not easy for them to take it. So there was always something, they will try to make my life miserable. Like, somebody will say things sitting in the back. There was a lot of Eve teasing. I am beautiful, so that didn't help either. I just turned around everything in a positive way, right? If they were bothering me, that means I am an attractive woman, so it's a plus point, right? If they are jealous of me, I am a very, very smart person. I am very hardworking. So I turned everything around for me that worked in a positive way to help me succeed. Yes, things have come a long way, but it's still not staying, right? I work for Expedia Group. I've worked for multiple organizations here. I've worked in the public sector also, with a county utility district here for 8 years. And there are still times when I'm the only one in the room, in a meeting full of room with men, mostly engineers. So, most of the engineers, especially in the technical field, I'm a technical program manager. I run data center moves. I have done migrations of different platforms. I'm working on the analytic platforms now. Like, you guys were talking about data science and MI. Tremio, how we are, converting those data so that we can make really smart, decisions when it comes to AI. I work in all those fields, and there's still not so many women out there, right? And I am in US. I'm not even in India. So it is still far from over. That's why I think people have asked me, why do we celebrate International Women's Day? You guys are always playing the woman card, and I say, you haven't seen our journey. You haven't faced what we have faced, right? And especially I think in India and any other South Asian country where the approach has been so conservative, I think women have struggled more than anywhere else. You can look back at times when even like just asking or sharing your dreams, that I want to, go out of my hometown, I want to do this. It was this like raising eyebrows from your relatives, right? Why are you even sending a girl out, right? And those things have changed, definitely changed. I think modernization has happened. The metro cities have adopted a lot of the culture that the Western world has been following. But if you go back to the villages and if you go back to small towns, things are still very hard. And that's where it comes that, we all have carved our path and we all have scars from our journey and we carry it with pride. But what can we do? What can we do for our fellow sisters and friends and women out there? I think we should all think not just personally and I wouldn't say it's selfish. Thinking about yourself is definitely important because it's your journey. But I still feel that we can give so back. We can think about others. They say, right, the strong women are the women that also uplift other women around them. You give them a helping hand, you pull them up with you. So that's where I will say, where we can make the most of the difference, and it's a ripple effect, right? You help one person, the other person will help other. It's a ripple effect. So why don't we start something like that?
Yes, ma'am, definitely. Those were very, very inspiring words, listening to your journey. And I wanted to ask you, how is it, like, you've been on both the sides, you've studied here at India, and then you went back to, you went to the US, and how are things at the US? Because a lot of students here, girl students, aspire to go abroad and study for better opportunities. So how is it different there, and how is it evolved over there? How is gender gap over at the US?
So gender gap does exist here also. And I think I touched on that even working with big organizations, you will still see a difference in, the number of women in the leadership role compared to what, men are, especially in the technical fields. I work with most of my team is of engineers and architects, and they are mostly men. 80% of them are men. So they definitely does exist. I didn't have a choice. I had no aspirations to leave my country ever. It just happened. Destiny played its part. I got married and came here. It was a huge culture shock. I had spent 23 years in India, growing up and fighting my own battles and proving myself. And then you come here and again, you are nobody, right? Because you are married to a person and you don't have a job, even though, again, as I said, I have been fortunate in many, many cases, first having, really, really broad-minded and very, very supportive parents. Then when I got married, I came on a visa where I had, a EAD within like work authorization within a few months. But then at that time, when I was going through my own culture shock and absorbing things on how I want and what I want to do in life, I decided to have my kid first, just be done with having one child and then focus on stuff. So it just gave me some time to reflect. I have a bachelor's in electronics engineering, but in my final year of college, I decided to move into software development, explore some of that. So my final project was in development. At that time, it was C. So I'm as I said, I'm much older than you guys. C and C++, and that's how I did my final project. But when I came here and figured out things, with the break I had for 6 months, and then I got pregnant, had decided to have my kid first. And I think that gave me an opportunity to look back and see how I want to balance my family life, be there for my kids, because that also, as women, as you guys will even, right? You guys are starting to work now, but eventually, whenever you want to settle, again, I'll say there shouldn't be any hurry to settle down. There shouldn't be any hurry to get married. There shouldn't be any hurry to get kids. It's all your choice. But whenever you decide to do that, I think always make decisions that you don't regret. Right? You just sit and realize what is important for you. The priorities change. Every phase of your life will bring you different situations, and you have to prioritize. So that's what I did. I prioritized my kid first, and then actually moved into quality assurance. Did some certifications. I have worked into the quality assurance field, and again, while doing that, going through that journey and working, I think the women around me, I had a great, awesome woman boss, and she said, "Oh, you have leadership qualities. Why are you doing this? You should do something into maybe program management, project management." And that's how, I had people around me who pushed me, whether it was my husband, my family, the women around me, the bosses around me, even men. I had some really great men boss, and they just identified. I think in your life, if there's an energy, right? Everybody has an energy inside them. If you have a positive energy, you attract positive people. You're bound to cross path with the right people. Yes, there will be. I'm not saying you won't meet negative or bad people, but ultimately the people you will get inspired are the ones who have a similar kind of bandwidth as you, who have a similar kind of energy. And I think just following, sometimes you just have to follow, just go with the flow, and that's what I did, I guess. And now I really take pride in coaching, right? Because I have a team of project managers that I manage, and we do feedbacks and so every time what I've heard is they admire that I don't treat them like as somebody who is reporting to them. I actually treat them as friends and motivate them. I actually tell them if there's another position out there that comes out at Expedia, I'll say, have you checked it out? It's not that I'm not I'm ready to lose you from my team, but I want you to grow. So you have to have that mindset that, again, you have talked about gender inequality. I think you have to have that mindset, not just be a mentor for the sake of a mentor, not just be a coach for the sake of being a coach. I think you need to be a sponsor. You need to look out for your mentees. You need to find gaps, and you need to find ways where you can let them, give them points to improve, and you need to find them opportunities for them to succeed. So being a sponsor is much more important, and than being just a mentor and telling them, and so just be there for them. So I think that will definitely cause a lot of this gender inequality to go.
Yes, ma'am, definitely. And as you mentioned, there are a lot of men out there who actually support, who are actually allies to women in equality, and they actually treat us with respect without discrimination, and who actually make it seamless, make our journey more seamless in this world. So yes, I would definitely like to highlight that point as well. So yeah, moving on to the next question, Sakshi, I would like you to take over.
Yeah, sure, Lasya. So, belonging to a women's university myself, couple of students from my college asked this question to be addressed to Khushbu directly. That coming from a women's university, how do you feel is the difference in the work environment? As you have spent around 4 years in college with amongst women, and now you're stepping forward to a co-ed environment. So, what is the change, and how did you accept the transition?
I would say that I'm really happy that I'm at an all-women university because it gives me an insight into how multi-talented women are, and that they are no less than anyone else. I would say that for 1 year I was in a batch of 70 men, where I was one of the 3 girls in one of my first year of university when I had done some other course. So I have been in a position where I have been one woman in a class of 7, 3 women out of 70, and I have also been at an all women university. And I would say that being a part of an all women university is very empowering, because girls at my university do everything. Literally, they are very good at coding, they are very good at organizing events, they're good at leadership. When we have college fairs, they are doing everything, literally, climbing on ladders, fixing things, and doing everything. So I would say it's very inspiring, and also being at an all women university brings us all together to a shared mission that we have to empower each other. And I would say that I'm very proud that we all do that, and it has actually increased my respect for women a lot. And I know that you're all very capable, and I really enjoy being a part of an all women university. So if you are also at one, I am also sure that you are also proud of it.
Yeah, I'm very proud. Lasya, would you like to take the next question?
Yes. So my next question would be, you have had successful careers until now, and if you would want to give suggestion to a young girl who's starting out there, what would you tell them to do it over, or or the opportunities that you came across that you probably did or did not take it, or what is that, what are the a few advices that you would like to give a new girl who's just starting her journey with probably engineering or in the STEM field? So Preeti Di, would you like to go over?
Yeah, sure. So I don't think there's just a single fit me all kind of thing, like one size that fits all as such. But yeah, I would like to say that when you start your journey as an engineer today, like I'm not that old, I'm just in 4th year. So it's just been 3 years that I'm out in engineering. So if I say that how do you actually start, is basically just trying out everything that comes in your way. Never be afraid that you're gonna lose it, or you're gonna be afraid of being perfect there. You don't have to be. It's okay to fail. It's okay to not be perfect, and everything just goes your way. Basically, being a woman, people actually underestimate us, right? So it generally happens that they do not expect much from us. So use it to your own, for your own goodness, because then you do not have to actually be at those expectations, actually meet those expectations actually. So go out, be whatever opportunity that comes your way, please grab those and move towards it. It could be just normal courses. It could be Global Summer of Code, Rail Girls Summer of Code. That's just for girls, I guess. There is Outreachy, and these are just the open source projects that are going on. Then other than that, there are societies like Women Tech Makers, or there could be hirings like Amazon Wow, or there's another one, I guess, Adobe She Codes. So these things do have just women in their things, and you just need to explore and go out. Do not think that you would not get it, or you would not make it to the end, because even I never thought that I'm gonna get something out of when I just started trying. I was just an average normal girl who came to a class of having just 17 girls out of 70. So we have a very disproportionate ratio, and you always feel that you're the only one who's actually on the stage all the time. And people tend to it generally happens that people tend to believe that maybe you are just the one who's trying to do it and you are just the one who's just been failing at things. So just take it on. You'll make your way through it. Just grab those opportunities which comes your way, and that would help you achieve anything. So that will be my thing. And apart from that, if you say just for a resume basis or something, I would say when I was last 6 months when I was sitting for the placement seasons, there was this thing on my resume, Linux kernel, that got a lot of attention because it was not something that's there on everyone's resume. And when you do something, I'm not saying just Linux kernel or something like that. If you do anything that sets you apart from the rest of the crowd, you're gonna get some attention. So you could think in that direction and make your own choices. You're pretty good at that. I'm sure about it.
Yes, those were very informative words that you just spoke. So I'm sure it helps a lot of other girls as well. So Vanidi, would you like to share or throw some light upon the same?
Sure. So I would firstly start by saying this thing that one thing which I've realized in the past couple of years is that use who you are and bring your whole self to whatever you're doing, and that's going to be an advantage because you are unique. And like especially we as women, a lot of times like there are ways in which you can see a particular situation. You can see it in the sense that maybe I am one amongst the only X number of boys, only girl, but at the same time it's also a positive situation. Let's like how I see it is let's talk about the first woman who went into space. So because she was the only one, she made history. She started thinking about the fact that okay, maybe I'm like, had she felt demotivated at that point, we would not have admired those people and have those names on our history books, right? So that is the power which you bring along, and own up your whole self. Like for example, so I was reading about this particular example that initially, it's a very simple example. Initially, when phones were developed, they were not like, especially when selfie was developed, it was not friendly for left-handed people. It was only friendly for right-handed people. Why was that the case? Because most of the folks who were there on the development team and the product team, most of them were right-handed folks. We did not have a lot of left-handed folks. So the perspective, if you own up who you are, if you own up who is it that you represent, if you bring that entire perspective, then you're adding a fresh lens which is going to benefit the product, which is going to benefit people, and you're just adding a bunch of freshness to the entire process. You're helping people, you're helping the product itself become more suitable for people. So that's how I see it. And yeah, we should feel proud of ourselves. We are kind of making history whenever we feel that we are leading it. That's the reason. Like Nidhi ma'am said that she was one of the few people who kind of led it. Those people are role models which we look up to, and they kind of were the trailblazers leading the path there. So yeah, that's amazing. And yeah, with respect to opportunities, if you ask me, I guess like Priti reiterated on it, grab every opportunity. Like honestly, I kind of feel that just because that opportunity came to my site means that there is some cross connection written in destiny, so I need to give it my 100%. Otherwise, I would not have stumbled upon it, right? So even during my first year, I would say, so like I said, when I got Google Venkat scholarship, I was like, when I applied for it, I was in my freshman year. Now, as a person who's just started college, you feel that I haven't done much comparatively vis-a-vis other folks. Should I even apply for it? Should I not apply for it? I'll be asking for LORs, I will be writing the SOP, I'll be putting a lot of effort. But then I had some seniors who told me this thing, that apply for it, who knows. So till that point, I don't think anybody, like I said, I was the youngest scholar. So mostly folks who got it were in third, fourth year, or like PhD students. So I was like, I'm in my first year, should I even try for it? But then that's how you create kind of history, right? You give it a chance, you give yourself a chance, and if that's supposed to click, it would click. You give it your 100%, that is the only thing which is in our control. So yeah, makes the most out of every opportunity. Again, for opportunities, like I said before, communities are a great way. Other things are you should try to. Okay, this is kind of interesting. What I've realized is once you kind of understand how recommendation systems work, you can use it to your advantage. So, yeah, you should be on the right side of recommendation systems if you want to get exposed to more opportunities. Like, firstly, try to explore the opportunities, try to maybe create a list of things that you want to do, which you want to try for. Maintain timelines, because a lot of times the timelines over the years change. Like, for example, my first year kind of went into curating a list of what all are the different opportunities which I can apply to, and many of them I looked at in my second year because the deadlines had already passed. So yeah, that's one way you can look at it. Another way is if you are networking with the right set of people, and those people are sharing their learnings, their opportunities, and you're kind of interacting with those people on social media platforms also, the social media recommendation algorithms would ensure you get more exposure to these opportunities. So use that to your advantage. And apart from it, I guess there were a lot of opportunities which Preeti mentioned, which are like really good opportunities you should definitely try for. Be it so, I would mention this thing that I was in, like, when I started my engineering, I was kind of like, oh my god, research seems so intimidating. Then I was like, let's try that out. Let's see what's the worst thing which can happen. And it turned out to be a pretty exciting thing, whether I go into research or not in the future. But the learnings are also helpful for me in industry. Like, one of the main learnings I had there was to just put it out there, to not give up, because in research, processes are tedious, right? You would have it is like you need to maybe stick with a project for 1.5 years before you can get a publication out of it. But you need to persevere, you need to stay through, and you need to, yeah, give it your 100% at every particular point. And eventually, when that success comes, it would be so heartwarming. It would be it is like a completely different thing. It's almost been a year since I got one of my best publications out there. So yeah, I'm kind of becoming nostalgic also. Yeah, so apart from that, yeah, with regards to opportunities, look out for scholarships, look out for travel grants, look out for communities. Again, I was talking to my mentees today, and yeah, one of them asked me this thing that we are participating in a lot of communities, but we do not know what is the next step beyond that. So what I was suggesting was take ownership. Pick up a small task, do it to the best of your ability, and make sure you stick to your commitment. Once that kind of gets incorporated into your brand, people are going to trust you more with opportunities, and they're going to come to you saying that this is something which I have for you, can you do this for me? And that's how you develop taking the ownership and leadership skills, and that's kind of going to help you grow in the community itself as well as grow as an individual. So that is something, yeah. And another thing was that one of my mentees was asking me, I do not have a DSC club in my college, so shall I maybe join some other club in some other college? I was like, that's an opportunity right there. Why don't you start your own DSC club in your college? That's something which you can surely do. If you want, I can try to connect you to people, but that's something you should definitely aim for. So that was today morning. So yeah, I'm sorry I'm making the content to the chat public, but yeah. Yeah, so that's something, that's how you should approach opportunities. If you feel something should have been there but is not there, take the ownership, take the responsibility, get it done. And that's how you would grow. Again, like, coming back, scholarships, travel grants are there. There are research opportunities abroad you can directly apply to. There are research internships, there are normal internships, there are full-time offers, you can apply for graduate study. There are people who apply directly for PhD at the end of their bachelor's. There's so many amazing women out there. You can meet, there are people who joined as researchers in top universities right after bachelor's, and after that they went ahead for PhD, maybe after acting as a graduate researcher for like a couple of years. So that was one of those people who was leading the Delhi chapter of machine learning before me. So yeah, there are a lot of amazing women in different fields. You learn about their journeys, you learn from their mistakes. And that is how you'll grow faster, because all of us have made mistakes on our journey, and when we share that, if somebody else is able to imbibe that wisdom, it's going to be a faster process for them, and they're going to have different set of mistakes to remember. Sure. So make the most out of every opportunity and do not limit yourself. And yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, those were some great words of wisdom, and a lot of things that we typically overlook. You made sure you pointed them out very well. So yeah, thank you for that. So Sakshi,
You're
yeah,
most welcome.
I would like you to take over.
Yeah, thanks, Lasya. So, Nidhi, I have a question for you that although being a full-time engineer is very difficult to manage, like whether it's internships or full-time, we always see 9 to 5, okay, come home and now sleep off. And this is very common in the young generation here as well. So, how did you manage it along with being a full-time mom? And as we know in these states, domestic help is a little difficult to get as in India. So, how did you manage both of them?
Yes, I think that's a big question that I always hear. Truly speaking, I don't even remember now how difficult it was. It was 19 years back, but a friend of mine has recently moved to US, and she was in college with me. So she already has 2 kids, um, and it was I could see her I could see her challenge and her frustration because she was so used to, she was at a high position in Ericsson, had help all around, right, had a driver, had cook, there was somebody to take care of the kids, but when she came here it was like, how do I even cook this? So what I tell is, there shouldn't be anything, right? All of us, we talked about, and Bani had put it so nicely together, that there shouldn't be anything that you should not be able to do, right? We shouldn't be depending on anyone. So I think the biggest thing, we all get used to the way things were. While growing up, my mom never had any external help to, and we were not, I don't come up from a very rich, I came from a lower middle class family, and at that time, 20 years back, my mom was a home maker, and she used to do everything. So I had seen her doing the work. The only thing was, she never let me work because she wanted me to study, and even if I'm standing in the kitchen, I just had a natural habit of, I have a passion for cooking. That's another thing about me. I love cooking. And so whenever I used to stand by, she used to say, no, go study. What I suggest to you guys is, don't let that as an obstacle in your life, right? As women, we shouldn't be depending on anyone. We should know how to drive, we should know how to cook, we should know how to take care of ourselves. And what best could have happened, that last year in COVID had told us everything. So I don't think so. Now there's a huge difference. When COVID struck, everybody was on its own. You were not even going to the beauty parlors, right? You were doing your threading or whatever, tweezing and whatever we were doing. We were taking care of ourselves, right? It's all about that. But it only happened when adversity happened in our lives. For us, for me, I was completely new, right, to this world. I had only worked in India for a year after my bachelor's, and I came, and I'm like this new bride who is now supposed to cook. But the thing is, I had a passion. I liked cooking, and things are much more. Yes, there's no help. And minimal help, because everything comes for a money. Obviously, labor here is quite expensive. The one thing I'll say is also things are a little different, right? In India, you have to kind of, there's a lot of dust and pollution and things like that. So on that front, I think the atmosphere here is much more cleaner, and things are much more easily managed. The driving is not like that in India. People follow rules. They are particular. You drive in your lane. It's yes, highway driving is harder, but it's also easier on many fronts. You just have to look at the positives. That if I get an opportunity to go out and settle down in States, I have to do all things by myself. But you can turn it around and say, I won't be dependent on anyone forever in my life, right? Because I'll know how to cook, I'll know how to do dishes, I'll know how to, like, laundry, ironing, everything is done by you, right? So that gives itself a pride, right? That there's nothing in this world that I can't do. So I just look at it that way, and that would be my message to everyone who is exploring the idea of coming to out of the country, and I'll miss my household help, and who will cook me the bestest of food. You will learn. Again, take it as a challenge and an opportunity to learn, do healthy cooking. You know what you're putting in your body when you're cooking it yourself, right? So just look at the positives, and throughout, till the time you will be alive, you won't be dependent on anyone, and that's not a good feeling when you are dependent on people. I have heard cases, and I've heard stories from friends who are like, their day gets bad if their mate doesn't show up. Why? Right? They will be like, she didn't come today. How will I do this? How will I do? And then they are frustrated the whole day. They are unhappy the whole day. And they are, just like, how do I do this? Why? We as Bani said, women are going to space. Why do we have to depend on a maid for our things, for our work? It shouldn't be that case at all. Ever. And then I also know people in India who still, at this time, even earning so much, still do every single thing by their own hand. So it's all about what lifestyle you want to have, right? What are the choices you are making for your life? So I don't think so that should be something discouraging. If I could manage as a completely new bride who had never stepped in a kitchen, I've just stepped in to make some dishes, like out of curiosity, following Tarla Dalal, just to, make something special for my dad. That was all my cooking experience. And my marriage happened also very, very quickly. Within a month of, knowing him, he was here, I was in India. It was all chat mangni patpya. Didn't have time to do any or learn anything. But then I played around. I took it as a challenge, and I just learned things. So I wouldn't say that should discourage anyone. And it's a new world to explore, right? So why not? Why not?
Yeah, that's really great to hear how a woman is capable of managing so many things. It's truly very great to hear about that.
Yeah, I do want to touch on something. I think you asked about kids too, and that's a very passionate subject for me. So I do want to touch, and I do have a time-bound thing. I am actually traveling. This is not my home. I'm in a hotel. We have come to see a hot balloon like the hot balloon festival. So right outside my hotel, there's something that's gonna start soon. So that's why I said I have a time-bound day today. My kids and family is getting ready. Yeah, so just wanted to touch on the kids stuff before I log off, and miss you guys and seeing these smiling faces. Is again priorities. First of all, the 3 or 4 things in which I'll say you should do is, first of all, there's no rush to do anything. There's no rush to get married. There's no rush to have kids. But once you do it, it's a priority in your life, and you should balance it out. Again, being ambitious and having a passion for something is also good. But realize that once you decide to have kids, they will take a major time of your life. And only commit to it whenever you are ready and whenever you feel you are at the right stage of your career. That's another thing. The third thing is it's all about what's important for you. People ask me this question, yes, I do. I am a full-time employee, right? I do work full-time. I am a full-time mom. I have 2 boys, handful. My other son is almost gonna be an adult. He is turning 18 in 3 months. No, 2 months. It's March already. So, and I have seen it all. I have managed it that I will not leave them in the daycare. I have managed my hours like that. I have at times taken positions which were below my experience level, just so that I can have a balance where I can just go to work at 6 and come back at 3. So my son is not in after school daycares. I've done that too. So it's again, it's all about what your circumstances are and what your priorities are. But once you decide to do something in your life, stick with it. Don't regret it. Kids bring a lot of happiness, but they are a lot of work also. So think about that. The one other thing is you should always put some time aside for your own self, for your own individuality. Self-love and self-care, we hear these words, they are real things. Do something for yourself. It's not just about profession. It's not just about family life. It's not just about kids. It's about you. You are here on a journey. It's your journey. And that's why pick up something that brings you inner happiness. I love hiking. I love mountains. I love working with communities. I have made a choice to sleep less hours and devote my time there. But that is what gives me happiness. So every one of you should have those 2 hours, 4 hours, whatever you can manage in a week for yourself. That's your time. Mommy is on a break. The daughter of the house is on a break. This is her time. You put that on your calendar and you stick with it. You take time out, you do something for yourself. One other thing that I want to close this call off was health. Your health is your biggest investment in life. And I want you young girls from the very beginning to focus on staying active, healthy, and happy. And all of these things are not just physical, that you should be, certain weight and you should be strong. It's also your emotional health. It's also your mental health. So those 4 things are my giveaways to you is yourself, your priority, self-love, self-care. And exercising is, self-care, but it's not self-love. You sit there, you feel good. Yes, I have exercised 1 hour a day, but what else did you do to give yourself that mental happiness, that emotional happiness? Think about that. Pick up a hobby, pick up something that is just yours and brings your individuality out. So do that. Again, priorities in life will change. Once you pick up a priority, don't regret it. Then give your 100%. Once you decide to have kids, they need your 100%. They didn't tell you that, they want to, you decided to give them birth. So that would be my second suggestion, that only do it when you are ready, and when you do it, just stick with it. And one thing Bani said, bring your whole self to work. I say this a lot. You don't have to be sorry for being sensitive. You don't have to be sorry for, I have cried in my meetings. I have cried. I've literally cried. I've shed tears in front of my boss. I'm not ashamed of that, because that's real me. If I'm having a difficult conversation with my reportees, my mentees, I let them get their emotions out in front of me. Be raw. You don't have to pretend, right? So bring your whole self to work. If people tag you as sensitive, if people tag you as weak, that's their problem, not yours, right? So and again, the one thing is that you will have to be your own advocate in life. Nobody else will do that for you. So be your advocate. Brag about what you have done. Brag about your success. You deserve that. You have a right to brag about it. And until unless you tell the world, who will know what you have done, right? Nobody else will share your story. You have to share your story. So do that. Stay happy, stay healthy, stay fit. I'm always here if you guys want to connect with me on LinkedIn. I do a lot of community effort for South Asian women to bring them awareness around breast health, because I have never heard the word breast cancer when I was growing up in India. It's pretty, people know about it, but nobody talks about it. You guys are very young, but I want you to take that message back to your mothers, your cousins, your aunts, that breast examination, going for mammograms is important. So do take that message back to them. But if you ever want to connect with me, on any professional life advices, personal life advices, or health fitness, I love to talk about fitness. I'm very much into, that women should be exercising and staying on top of their health, because nobody takes care of them when they fall sick. Everybody just looks at them when they are not well. So take care of yourself, self-love, self-care, and be your own advocate. So that was it from me.
Thanks a lot, Nidhi, for your inspiring words. And without taking a lot of your time, I just want to say one thing, that when I speak this, I speak on behalf of the entire community which is watching this. We are in nothing but in amazing, with your amazing journey. We just feel absolutely very empowered and inspired, and hope so that we could achieve at least some part of what you have achieved so far. And that's all from our side. And although the time is very short. Yeah. Sure.
Yes. If you can see the mountains outside. Can you guys see it?
Yeah, we can see it.
Yeah, we can.
And a lot of snow.
Snow.
Yeah, so the balloons are just getting ready to be filled. So we are here. Again, the reason I showed that snow is that if you aspire to come here, snow is really beautiful when it falls. So I was inspired by all of you. I would love to connect more, and good luck on all your journeys. Ones who are yet to start, actually it started the day you were born. And the ones who are already, making some changes in their life and getting into different roles and being mentors for people. Like Bani was saying, she was talking to her mentees this morning. Just good luck with everything you do in your life, and stay happy, healthy, and active.
Thank you so much for your inspiring words. Yeah, your journey is surely something to look up to.
Cool. Thank you, guys.
Thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah, bye-bye.
Thanks for inspiring us. Bye-bye.
So let's move forward. Yeah, that's it.
All right, so let's move on to the next question. I wanted to ask the same question to all of you as well, Bani Di, Khushbu, and Preeti Di, that how has being a girl in how has it influenced you? Has it ever influenced you in some way, be it good or bad, or is there must be some incident, right, be it good or bad, that has happened to you just because you're a girl? Would you like to share that or throw some light on it? And how did you overcome that, or how would you like to change that for the further people out there?
Okay, so I would like to jump in to this question. If you say as a girl, how does it affect us being in this world? So I would say when it's about opportunities, we have tremendous amount of opportunities just because we are a woman, right? Because everyone talks about diversity, everyone talks about inclusiveness, and there's going to be a lot of hiring takes place just for women. There's going to be a lot of societies, and people will be more than happy to have you in. But that's just the start of a fight, right? A relentless fight when you have to prove yourself that you've deserved it in the first place. So I believe that once you have the opportunity, you have to grow as an individual, and you have to, like, even if the bars were lower for you to be in, you have to prove yourself that you had it in you to get there and to deserve that position, basically. So I believe that's one thing. And second is, of course, as I talked about, it's underestimation. I mean, people generally do not believe that you could actually do something. I mean, it's very rare people who actually believe that people could be good in, like, women could be good in mathematics or science or technology for that matter. And once you do, once you're like really good at something, or you do something, basically, that's the point when they come to know that, okay, she could have done it. And that's when they're surprised, elated at the same time, right? And even shocked at times because they never thought you could. So underestimation has been pretty common in my life, I would say, because suppose I'll give you an example. Suppose you're in a hackathon, and because of the proportion we have, it's generally like 2 to 3 boys and 1 girl, or there might be just a entirely girls team. But when you have just 2 to 3 boys and a girl, the general perspective would be that the guys have been doing all the work, and girl is just there for, maybe presenting, or just because they are friends. So that's a general perspective, and you don't get recognized for your efforts much. So when that happens, I want to tell all of you who are attending, do not get demotivated, because there's going to be a time when you will be recognized for your efforts. It might not be today, it might not be tomorrow. Just don't lose hope. Don't get demotivated. Do not lose your momentum, because you are doing great. And even as a woman, I believe all of us need to support such women and stop seeing that perspective of the general perspective that consists also of us, right? We tend to underestimate women doctors or women engineers at the same place. So that's what I think needs to change to bring women up and ramp them up in terms of their growth and as a growth for our community, and pave the path for the future generations. So these are things that I feel that as a woman I would have faced.
Thank you, Preeti, for answering the question. My next question is like Bani B and Khushbu, they are studying. They are working professionals. And what pointers would you give to the upcoming batches, that how they should be prepared, either mentally or be a bit active on their resume? Do you have some pointers to them?
I can jump right in for this. Okay, so Khushbu, if you want, you can go ahead.
No, please go ahead.
Sure. So firstly, you asked about how to mentally prepare yourself. So there are some pointers which I would say I've learned in whatever journey I've had yet. So one of them would be, like I said, to bring your whole self to work. The second one would be to own up your mistakes. Everybody makes mistakes, but if there is a person who owns up their mistake and like lets people know that, okay, I committed this error, and I'm okay to accept it in front of everybody, and now I will make efforts to not repeat it and learn from my mistake. So just being honest, just being truthful in what you're doing, just being earnest in your effort, that is going to take you a long way, I feel. And I personally feel it's a value of trust, which in fact Salesforce stresses on a lot. So when you're accepting your own mistakes, you're kind of letting other people trust on you, right? That this person is going to come out and say that, okay, I committed an error here, please help me solve this. So especially when we're starting out young, if we kind of get into this mentality that we can own up our mistakes, we can say that, okay, we made an error, we want to learn from it, this is something which we did wrong, and like how to go about it next. That's going to be a huge help for you as you move forward. And apart from it, being open to learning always, like whatever task you're given, take it as an opportunity. Never think that there is a task. So honestly, when I started thinking about the tasks which were given to me at the start of my career, I can see a pattern. Like there were some tasks which were given to me solely for the purpose of me learning things, right? Like I could always see, like for example, if there are 5 projects the team is working on, so maybe the first task which I'm given is on this particular project, the next task which I'm given is on another project which is not the same as the first project. That's kind of to give me exposure to different things, that's kind of to make me learn, and so that I can come up with questions regarding whatever I felt. Like for example, if let's just take an example. If I'm only exposed to one project for a long time and I'm kind of getting those tasks repeatedly, that would kind of narrow me down. But in case I'm getting different things to experiment with, different things to understand, to learn from, that's going to take me a longer way in my journey. So whatever you get, do not take it just as a challenge, take it positively. There is someone out there who's wanting you to learn that, and that is why they're investing so much time and effort into you. Then, like, at times you would feel that they're kind of picking up tasks which they feel can make you learn and grow a lot. So have that faith that honestly your team and your manager, they're investing a lot in you. They're wanting you to grow, they're wanting you to be resourceful, and at the same time learn a lot. So if you take it in a positive stride, nothing is going to stop you. You're going to learn a lot, you're going to be resourceful for the team, and at the same time, like I said, be honest and earnest in your effort. That is fundamentally very important. That is on the mental side. Like if you ask me about resume preparation, honestly, I never worked per se for preparing a resume. If you pick up every opportunity which is going to come your way, you will eventually have a pretty good resume to show. And with regards to writing things on your resume, there are a lot of, I feel all of us would know about, there are a lot of overleaf templates for resume if you want to build a good one. Apart from that, like I at least do this thing that I mention my technical things, but at the same time I also mention my other endeavors, which I feel are an important part of who I am. They, like I said, bringing your whole self to work. If I kind of just limit my resume to my projects and my technical things, that is a part of who I am, but that does not represent me in the entirety. So I would also mention a little bit about my other endeavors, be it in terms of community, be it in terms of extracurricular stuff which I've done, or just leadership and all. Like I mentioned it would not take a large part of my resume, but at least the mention of it should be there. Apart from it, organize things in the best way possible. Write, like whenever you're writing about a particular project, write about like at least I try to write about what was it that appealed me to that project, why am I investing so much into making that project, and what were the technologies I used, what was the learning, and if there is some metric in which I can report that okay, this is what this is how it's going to impact people or it impacted customers, and this is like the improvement which we did, or some other metric to kind of show that this is what we achieved, like even if it's something like this particular thing resulted in a publication thereafter. So just mention all of those things in your resume. They're kind of going to substantiate your work. They're kind of going to be advocates for your work. So yeah, that's one suggestion which I would give. And apart from it, with regards to opportunity, like Preeti mentioned, there are a lot of opportunities out there. Keep an eye on them. Join communities. Again, like I'm again and again stressing on the fact that it is very important for you to join communities, because you need to be in the right set of peers who are having that exposure and can also push you. Like for example, I have a good set of peers, and whenever we see an opportunity, we're kind of like motivating each other that this is an opportunity which suits your interest. Like for example, one of my friends is interested in astronomy. So I see an opportunity which is related to astronomy, be it in case of like some initiative which is taken by NASA and all. So I don't have a lot of interest in it. I come across it, I'll share it with him. So that's the kind of things communities can enable you to do. If you have a good set of peers, you know what they like, you would push them to achieve their maximum potential. You would be kind of hoping that all of us can do exceedingly well. And like I guess somebody mentioned on the panel already, whenever you feel you have taken a step ahead, give back. There are a lot of people out there whose life you can impact without even knowing that you have impacted their life. And yeah, do not just give it for so give it for yourself. Do that particular thing for yourself, because the satisfaction that is going to give you, that is going to be unparalleled. Like for example, if a mentee of mine comes back to me and tells me that this is some particular opportunity maybe I shared with them and they were able to crack it, and like that's making them very happy, that kind of makes my day. I'll be honest, that kind of makes my day. So yeah, those are the things which you should stress on. And yeah, everybody is eventually wanting to invest in you as a person. They are looking at your technical prowess, again, technically, you have some sites, like for example, if you're targeting some interviews, so Lead Code, Interview Bed, these are some good sites to prepare from. And yeah, with regards to the technical questions, that those are some good sites to start practicing things on. Another thing I often tell juniors, these are very specific tips, I would say, would be something like try to not use the autocomplete feature. Try to keep that to the minimum, because we rely a lot on it and that kind of spoils up things for us at times during interviews. So yeah, try to keep that to the bare minimum. And yeah, apart from it, be confident in at least one language. Like for example, we have a native language in which we speak. We're confident about speaking in that language. Make one technical language as your language to speak in. So be fluent in that. So that is going to again help you. So yeah, Khushbu, please take over. The stage is all yours.
No, I completely agree with every point out there. And I just like, only to add on to it, I would say, stepping into the industry just after college is intimidating. And sometimes we do feel like it's a huge gap and we have stepped into a new whole world altogether. And it's like everyone around us is mostly senior and we are the most junior ones. So of course, as Banidhi mentioned, we get a lot of opportunities to learn. And what I would say is, don't be afraid. First of all, ask a lot of questions. Personally, even I have been in situations where I feel like my question is really stupid, but I do ask it anyway, and I always receive supportive answers and they always promote my ideas. So this brings me to the second point, that if you have an idea, share it with them, because you might be bringing a fresh perspective. Because sometimes when the team is working on a product for so many years, it might happen that their ideas are not very new, and you might come up with something which is very innovative or very effective, and as a beginner you might feel intimidated, but it might be really helpful. So don't be afraid, share your ideas, ask your questions. And as Banidhi mentioned, that sometimes your team intentionally gives you a task. It might be possible that they can do it in a day, but they will give you 1 week to do it so that you learn. So take that as an opportunity and make the best out of it. And talk about the technical aspects, I would just say that what usually happens used to happen with me, that I used to think that I should first learn something and then I should apply that, right? So I think that was a wrong practice. So have a habit of learning parallelly. So if you want to learn something, just believe in the power of Google, that you have it with you, and just give it a try. Just don't think that I can't do it, I don't know enough. You always know enough and you always have enough help. You just have to ask for it. And yeah, one last thing I would just say, as Banidhi mentioned, sometimes since we are in such a competitive world, it happens that this competition arises and we are always in a race. But I would say collaborative learning is the solution, because the joy of learning with others and of wanting to grow together is something all different. And I think that comes a lot from the community, because as the community has helped us grow, it is inbuilt in us that we want to give back. So obviously, whenever you learn something and you get something from the community, always try to give back to them. And always try to grow together, because you will go very far. Just like they say, if you want to go fast, go alone, but if you want to go far, go together. So yeah, that's it from my side.
Yeah, just adding my 2 cents to this particular thing which Kushbu mentioned. Ask a lot of questions. That, like for example, when you're working on a research project, or just something like on a course project, when you're designing a prototype and you're trying to understand what are the features. Just giving a very basic example. Let's say you're building a particular application and you're wanting that it should be easy to use for customers. Now, after you've worked on that project for a while, you need fresh eyes to look at it, to point out some errors wherein they feel that, okay, this particular thing is slow. So that is the power of a fresh perspective, which a lot of times we who are joining new into a team can offer, and ask a lot of questions. Like, honestly, I would say my teammates have been super encouraging with regards to like encouraging me to ask questions. And even when I felt that maybe I should not be asking this question, they were like, sure, you're most welcome, ask questions. Because if you don't ask that particular question, you're losing on an opportunity to learn. And it might be that maybe even 6 months down the line, you have this in mind. So it's better to clear it away that particular day itself. So yeah, it's always great to ask questions, to learn, to grow, and yeah, do not kind of cut your questions at your own end. Like there might be a thought occurring in your mind that what if the other person feels that I'm stupid? But honestly, what I felt was whenever I asked questions, people were more than supportive, and especially during the pandemic. So I onboarded during the pandemic, and it was like everything was virtual. So especially people were very supportive of the fact that we're having a virtual onboarding, so we might be having more doubts, and so everybody was like, okay, we know that you're onboarding during this time, feel free to bring us with doubts anytime you want, and yeah, just let us know how we can support your growth and all. So yeah, feel free to ask doubts. That's why you're a junior. Like for example, if okay, I'll ask a question to all of you, everybody on this panel. If a junior comes to you to ask doubt today, would you think of them that this person is stupid, why is that person asking me a doubt? You would not think that way. And that is the kind of learning I had during my I would say senior years in college. So I learned this thing that whenever a junior comes to me, I want to answer their doubt to the best of my ability. I want to kind of help them as much as I can. And now when we're stepping into work, we are a junior at work, so that's what we can utilize. Let's ask doubts. And yeah, because everybody might be willing to actually invest in us, help us. Everybody is wanting us to grow. So why not take that opportunity and ask doubts rather than just keeping it to ourselves?
Yes, definitely. Thank you so much, Bani and Khushbu, for your valuable inputs. And I cannot agree more with what you guys said today. So, moving on, Preeti, you said that you had applied off campus for companies. So, did you come across any girl initiatives that you've applied to? And also, how was the off-campus drive? Not just Google, but you must have applied for a lot of other universities as well, right? So yeah, a little, a few inputs on that journey would be great.
Okay, so I didn't really apply for women-specific roles because I missed some. I guess there was Amaze Wow that I missed. There were other initiatives as well which I missed at that time. I wasn't aware of the opportunity. But yeah, I applied for a lot of off-campus things and I didn't hear back from most. That happens. That's pretty normal. I heard back from Google in November, I guess, and I heard back from Microsoft a week back or something after I'm already like there. I received campus placements as well. But yeah, Google was something that it doesn't visit our campus for software engineers. So I'd never expected them to apply. I was just applying with my resumes to them. And I did whatever I could. I was learning. So if you ask me if I got any women initiative or not, I'm not really aware if I did get that. But yeah, people would generally like to include the diversity and inclusiveness. So maybe that had a role in my selection to Google or something like that. And if you ask me any inputs on applying, just apply to every opportunity that you think you want to work with, okay? Because once you apply, you have a chance. You actually have a chance of getting a call and getting an interview or anything like that. I don't think anyone from my campus before this has ever, like at least my seniors, have never got an off-campus call. And it was pretty new because I never expected to get an off-campus call either. Although I was applying to almost every company I could, like what I wanted to work with. So that's exactly what I would like to tell you guys here. When you're applying for off-campus or on-campus, it's just build a good resume, put it forward, give your best efforts, and of course, whatever they are gonna ask, like coding, that's just the most common thing right now that they're gonna ask. Google was completely coding, for that matter, and I believe their thing is you already have all the weapons, right? You already have data structures and algorithms. So how do you use your brain and use it for problem solving? So that's what they believe. They'll tell you questions that are like a page log, and then you have to apply your methods and your neural networks inside that what you're gonna apply here. So once you are in that thing and once you are getting through your data structures, algorithms, and problem solving, you'll be pretty good at doing anything and solving any question that were posed to you. So it happened with me as well. I never thought I could I was never a competitive coder or something that is like on a code chef 6 star or 7 star. I wasn't. I never applied for those things either. So when I was asked to apply for Google, I had least expectations that I could get an offer. I thought, no, I wouldn't. I'll just try to go through the phone interview, or I'll just try to get through the first 3 interviews, or something like that. And I was working for the last 2 to 3 months when the interviews were going on. And that's what led me here. That's what has helped me through. And when I got the offer, I was like, really? Did I make it through? Or is it just some glitch? Because I couldn't believe that it actually happened. I mean, till the end of the time, my recruiter was with me telling me like, no, you have to do even better, or I couldn't send you to the hiring committee, or you have to do the next round even better than what you were doing. So I had least amount of expectations. But yeah, you should not lose your momentum and you should not lose hope. Just give your best and let's see what is there for you, right? So that's exactly what my input would be. Thank you for the question.
Great, yeah, those were some great insights. I just wanted to ask, there is this prevailing question that probably everybody, including girls and boys, think of this. But as girls, what is your perspective on this? There's this question whether to take up masters in another country, preferably US, or to continue with industry. I know most of you have taken, all of you have taken industry here as of now, but I've seen that Bani has also been into research. So how is that different decision? Bani?
Sure, it's a very personal decision, I would say here. Like for every person, it's a different thing which they need to decide about. Like whether you want to go for, like for me, I would say the research which I did, I did invest quite a lot in research, and whether it's going for masters or not, there is a lot of learning in just the activity of research. Like you're diving deep into something, you're learning from there, right? And you learn how to collaborate with your peers because it's an involved project. It's going to last a long time, and yeah, you're like, especially times when you're leading a research project, like you're the one who's driving it as a first author. You need to think about, okay, I'll tell you this thing. So making sense out of ambiguity, that is something which you do a lot in research. You have a wide field, and now you need to figure out, okay, what is the niche area which I want to target? Where is it that I can deliver something new, which can be of good use for the entire academia. So that's how papers get published, right? Because if academia, especially in the top tier conferences, if those people who are reviewers feel that your work is adding value to the scientific community, that is when they're going to accept it. So just that entire process of trying to come up with a problem which you want to solve, which you're passionate about, so that you would persevere for maybe 2 years, 1.5 years, and then trying to make a sense out of ambiguity. Like for example, you might be in a position during your research process that you're thinking like, this is the end of the road. I do not know how to go forward on this. And that is also something when you start when you're kind of settled in industry, when you're trying to explore new problems there, when you're trying to solve what somebody hasn't solved before, that kind of thinking is again going to come in. And I personally feel that is one of my strengths, because I've already done that in college, and that's kind of like, whenever that situation occurs now, I kind of know that perseverance pays. So I can tell you a little story here. Maybe that's not answering your question, but just in case you're okay bearing with me, I might go ahead and share about that. Is it okay if I share?
Sure. Go on.
Sure. So there was a particular paper which we had applied. So me and another friend of mine, we had taken an independent research project, and we were the only 2 undergrads who were working on that particular project. And we did not have a PhD. We had 2 advisors with us, but we did not have a PhD or a master student who was guiding us. And we took that project on in our 3rd year. So we kind of started working towards that particular topic in 2nd year summers, but 3rd year was majorly the time when we stepped into that project. So we started back then. We were kind of novice in the field of research. We jumped in. We tried to see what is it which we can deliver. We tried to solve a particular problem, come up with novel things there, write a paper, trying to there are a lot of things which come into that particular part, but that's not the main point of why I'm bringing this up. After that, once we started to submit the paper, again, I'll just be honest here. So the first time we applied to a conference with that particular paper, we got a borderline accept, and that conference is a core A-star conference. And so there are rankings which are given to different conferences, and so core ranking is something which is very prevalent in academia, and core A-star is at the top of most conferences. That's the most prestigious venues. So that was a core A-star conference which we were targeting, and we were like, let's see, we don't even know if this would get through or not. It's just something which we have done. Like, you have those feelings in your head. And the first time we applied to it, it was at a very, very short notice. We could not even, I would not say that our paper was very well honed. It was the first time we as undergraduates were writing a paper, like an 8-page long paper. You're writing that for the first time, you're formulating everything you've done, and we submitted it, and we got a borderline accept. Now, what we thought was that borderline accept means that maybe we're through, but it was a rejection. We had a borderline accept, but they had set a kind of a cutoff, like this is their acceptance rate, because it was a prestigious venue. So despite a borderline accept, we got a reject. And it was like, means we were close, we were almost going to make it, but we did not make it. And that was the first conference which we were attempting. After that, we submitted, we revised the paper a lot of times based on the reviewers' feedback which we got. We submitted it to different venues, some journals and all. But yeah, the dream was always to get into that particular venue, which is the Core A-star venue. But yeah, we did submit it to other venues. And then I guess maybe a day or so before, so I was down with jaundice during that time, and typhoid. So that was around Jan 25, 2020. Yeah. So Jan 25, 2020. Yeah, that was around the time of application. And so I got a ping from my professor telling me, like, no, there was, so we got, so what happens when you apply for conferences is that your paper can only be submitted to one conference or one venue at a time. And once you receive feedback from there, that's when you can submit it to the next venue. So you're blocked till that time. So we got a feedback from the previous venue with a set of reviewers' comments, and the deadline for that dream conference which we had was, I guess, 10 hours or so away. And it was like, we had a lot of deadlines during that particular week, and we had to take a call. And like I said, I was unwell too. So me and my partner, we had to take a call that time. Are we going to attempt this, or are we not going to attempt this? And then in my mind, I was like, if we miss this, I'm going to regret it. So we stayed up the entire night. We tried to put in our best effort. We tried to hone the paper for that, and we submitted the paper. And it was, I guess, around this particular time in the year, like I would say maybe, I guess, in 1 or 2 days last year, that was the time when we got that accept. And the moment we got that accept, we were overwhelmed. We were like, and we got lovely comments from reviewers, I would say. Everybody was appreciative of our work. And that kind of feeling, like, I was in my 8th semester during that time. And so we started in our 5th semester, so it had been like around 1.5+ years we had been investing into that project. But that moment, when it kind of hits you that we got into the dreamy venue, we got in as undergrads only, we got in thanks to the help from our advisors and all, we kind of made it through that particular thing. And it was this close to slipping. Had we not taken a call that day to attempt it at a short notice and to give it 100%, we could not have experienced the happiness which we did on that particular day. So that is what research teaches. At least for me, that is what research means to me. It kind of tells me to make the most of every opportunity, to persevere, to work hard, to make sense in like out of an ambiguous situation, to navigate the path, and to never give up. Because summing up the entire story, I would say that for me, that never give up part was something which I learned it, and that is something that is one incident which is etched in my mind, because it was a different kind of experience, because once you kind of invest a lot of effort into something and then it comes through, it materializes, it's a different kind of happiness. And that is what research is about. Whether you want to pursue masters or not, that is a completely personal choice every individual can make. And I guess what I learned during my industry experience is also the fact that even industry gives you a lot of opportunities to grow. Even in industry, there are a lot of interesting things which you can do, challenging problems which you can take up on. And yeah, with regards to, like I said before, whether somebody wants to do a master's or not, it's a personal choice. But it is also 2021, and last year we had 2020, which is an year in itself. Everybody can talk about it a lot. I really feel that way. So yeah, at the same time, that particular thing also brings with itself a couple of challenges. And whenever a person, whosoever is watching it, is taking a call, make sure you know your priorities well. You know what is it that you want to do, what is it that you want to achieve, and structure it that way. And again, one another thing which I'm going to add here is that a lot of times things don't go as planned, right? I might have planned something else for myself, thinking that this is what I want to do in my life, but things don't work out that way. You must realize at that particular point that it is not, beyond a point, I feel it is not us who are in charge of what is going to happen with us. There are some things which are destined, but the beauty of it is that at times destiny plays a much stronger role in guiding you to the path which is meant to be for you, right? Like, even if somebody thought that they want to do maybe a master's, but yeah, COVID struck, and then they chose a different path because they chose what was the best for them at that moment. So that is what matters at the end of it. And like, whatever you do, if you're learning continuously from there, if you're growing, if you're taking it as an opportunity to grow, it's going to take you a long way. Yeah. So be it in any of the fields, whether it's masters or whether it's I guess getting into industry directly after it, I feel research is something which is going to stay for you. Have some research experience. I would highly recommend it to everybody. It might be a little overwhelming at times, but surely it's going to give you some life skills which are going to help you in your journey, whether in industry or in academia. And it's always good to have a kind of a validation in terms of peer reviews which have come for you. They kind of speak for your work. So yeah, that's my advice. That's my 2 cents on it. And yeah, in case you have any follow-up questions, I'll be more than happy to answer it. For others to chime in.
I would just like to add on to the question of Lasya that it's not like you have to choose industry or masters. Just to letting the audience know that there are also opportunities at corporate companies. For instance, I have worked at Microsoft and Adobe, and both of these have these provisions that you can also do a masters while you are at a company. And like they have distance learning programs, so while working at the company you can do your masters from universities like Georgia Tech, etc., in a distance learning mode. So those options are also there for you. But as Banidhi mentioned, you have to choose what your priorities are and where do you want to see yourself 10 years down the line, and where your interest lies. That is the most important. If you feel that you want to go for a master's right after your bachelor's, that is also a good choice for some people. For some people, being in some for some years in the industry and then opting for masters, maybe in management, maybe in technology, whatever it is, it's everyone's own choice. But yeah, I was just letting you know about the possibilities of doing both at the same time.
Sure, that's a very valid point, I would say, Pushpu. Yeah, there is an option for online masters, which a lot of people do. Some people do it in like executive MBAs. That's one thing which people opt for. There are the people who do it in tech, like OMSCS program from Georgia Tech, and I guess there are other universities out there who have their programs too. But yeah, eventually at the end of the day, it's your choice. Where do you see yourself in, like she said, in 10 or 5 years? Where is it that you see your potential being used to the maximum? What is it that you want to achieve? And that's what it all boils down to. And again, destiny plays its part.
Yeah, it was really inspiring hearing you all, and it is really amazing to see how women from all walks of life come forward and they speak about their journey and inspire millions of other girls who are probably afraid to take this step, whether to choose engineering or getting into cliche things and coming forward and taking up their passion. So it's really inspiring. um, all good things do come to an end, and so does the day one of our Women's Day special event. And I speak on behalf of the entire community that I'm in nothing but absolute awe of the inspiring work these amazing ladies are doing, both in the field of technology as well as striving to give back to the community. I thank you all for being a source of inspiration to these women who are, or maybe taking up a daring and exciting step towards the field of STEM. An educated woman holds the power to make sure no one in her family remains behind. To the audience watching the event, girls, you aren't alone. Keep your head high, carry the beautiful smile, and be amazing in your own way.
Yes, on that high note, we thank you all for joining us today and sharing your experiences with us. It was a great learning experience and pure bliss to host all of you today, including Nidhi ma'am, who's not here right now. So tomorrow we will host students who have won various accolades in the field of technology. So stay tuned with us for amazing Women's Day celebrations. Goodbye and take very good care of yourself. And I thank the panelists once again for being here. Bye-bye.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you for hosting us.